Good evening, everybody. Welcome to your daily AI news, where we demystify all things AI and make a bunch of mistakes, and hopefully, you guys have fun learning with us. Unfortunately, my cohort today couldn't join us, so you're stuck with just me and probably a little bit of a shorter show. But I would like to go ahead and dive in here. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Lots actually happened this past week. Right around the time our show was airing last week, we were really anticipating the new release of Grok and excited about it. But also continuing through the week, there's been quite a bit of drama. A story broke by Rolling Stone here where Elon Musk's AI chatbot, Grok 3, actually was abruptly pulled offline last week after generating a string of deeply offensive and disturbing outputs. The chatbot produced racist, sexist, and anti Semitic remarks, at one point, even referring to itself as a Mecha Hitler, which is pretty wild. Confirmed reports of Grok making light of the violence, indulgence in graphic fantasies, and targeting real individuals with hateful rhetoric. Within hours, XAI actually disabled the model and issued a formal apology. But the reputational damage had already kind of taken hold, especially since Grok had been marketing kind of the bold, unfiltered alternative and traditional chatbots. That came as kind of on the heels of a leadership shakeup as well. Linda Yaccarino, the CEO of X, officially resigned just one day after Grok 3 was taken offline. While sources suggest she had planned to step down prior to that, the incident and the timing drew a direct line to the public's mind between Grok's failure and a deeper instability inside Musk's platform. It was a rough look, and one of the most prominent female executives in tech stepping down in the shadow of that sort of quote-unquote meltdown also kind of added kind of definitely a bad look. In the aftermath, XAI made kind of a quiet and crucial update yesterday on July 15th, where it was decoupled from Elon Musk's tweets and personal tone. The model will no longer draw on Musk's voice or style when formulating responses, which is a sharp pivot away from the savage personality, quote-unquote savage personality Grok was originally known for. This change came as part of a broader effort to reintroduce guardrails and soften the AI's persona following the public outcry. Why this matters? This wasn't just a model behaving badly, it was a systematic failure in tone, trust, and oversight. Grok 3 became a symbol of what happens when ideology overtakes safety in AI development. And while Grok 4 may be here with promises of new physics, it arrives with a lot to prove and maybe a lot to unlearn as well. And so let's see. Next on the list here, it's also related to Grok. It pretty much dominated the news this past week. Despite the controversy, XAI did secure the U.S. Department of Defense's contract worth up to $200 million, raising fresh debate around AI ethics versus national security. A story brought to us by Newsweek. Just days after Grok 3 was pulled offline for generic anti-Semitic, violent, and sexually graphic content, and only hours after the CEO had stepped down, Elon Musk's XAI landed a Department of Defense contract worth $200 million. Details are still emerging, but sources say the contract includes access to XAI's core models, likely including Grok 4 or its foundational architecture for potential defense applications. That means the technology could soon be integrated into military-grade systems. This news immediately reignited debate over AI ethics versus national security. Can a company that just developed a public-facing model capable of spewing hate speech and violent fantasies be trusted, with sensitive federal contracts? And does America's race to stay ahead in AI leave room for accountability? Why this matters, it's kind of the classic dilemma of risky innovation versus strategic advantage. The U.S. government is clearly betting on XAI as a model for being powerful enough to be worth the risk. But as we kind of saw with Grok 3, there's a lot of understandable concerns of kind of where that goes. So I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts. If you want to add that in the chat, looks like we've got some chat here. Yeah, no worries. Sorry for the bumpiness here. We kind of had to call an audible. That's what happens when you go live, right? That would definitely be what Rick would say right here. And so then let's go on to our next story here from Associated Press. Let's see. Yesterday, July 15th, at Carnegie Mellon University, leaders from the government and tech gathered for the Pennsylvania Energy and Innovation Summit, hosted by Senator Dave McCormick and joined by President Trump and Governor Shapiro. The event unveiled more than $90 billion in private sector funding for AI and energy infrastructure across the state. Major players included Amazon, Microsoft, Google, Blackstone, Brookfield, CoreWeave, and many more. This isn't just money for AI, it's also clean power, grid upgrades, and data centers. Google alone committed $25 billion to build data centers and modernize hydropower plants within the PJM energy grid. That puts the total investment in eastern U.S. AI energy infrastructure north of $115 billion with a B, a seismic shift in how and where AI is built. And I know that we had talked about this in the past. That particular area, there's been a lot of interest from a lot of different companies in expanding within that area. Why this matters, it's an infrastructure shift. AI is becoming as much about physical assets, energy, real estate, grid resilience, as it is about code. Regional strategy. Pennsylvania is being positioned as a key AI hub with government coordination and private scale investment. And energy implications. The clean versus fossil debate is front and center. Powerful infrastructure meets environmental concerns. And then let's see, for our next one, let's take a look at this guy here, Reuters. Let's get that pronunciation correct. Reports that the Trump administration has begun easing export restrictions on NVIDIA's H20 AI chips to China. A notable shift in U.S. tech policy, especially given the backdrop of rising trade tensions and ongoing national security concerns. These H20 chips were specifically designed by NVIDIA to comply with prior U.S. export rules. Slightly less powerful than the H100s, but still highly capable for training large AI models until now. Even those downgraded chips faced restrictions that are now changing. The timing is telling. NVIDIA's CEO Jensen Huang was in Beijing this week, where he publicly praised Chinese AI models for companies like Tencent, Alibaba, and DeepSeek as world-class. That kind of endorsement paired with export flexibility signals a possible recalibration in how the U.S. is approaching competition and cooperation in China. And then, why this matters. This isn't just about semiconductors, it's about strategic leverage and the global AI race. Loosening these controls could allow China to ramp up training on par with Western models, accelerating its domestic AI industry. But it also keeps U.S. companies like NVIDIA entrenched in one of the world's largest markets, a move that might be as economic as it is geopolitical. Either way, the message is clear. The rules around AI hardware access are evolving, and so is the power balance. And that's pretty much all I have in terms of the headlines here. It was moving so fast. It kind of blew my mind that we actually. Looks like I lost my. We're having a heck of a time here with our technical difficulties. All right, everybody. I think we're going to go ahead and call this one a wrap now. Thanks for tuning in.